Hey everybody, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about something weird that's going on in my state right now. We don't really talk about it that much with people from outside here. When other people catch word that we still do this, it's a big question of why and more. Why just you? I live in Rhode Island. It's the smallest state in the United States, and we still celebrate what is called VJ Day. Nowhere else in the United States celebrates VJ Day. What is VJ Day? It's Victory Over Japan Day. This is standing out especially right now because I know for a fact people are going to take their day off on VJ Day and go and see Oppenheimer. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I know it's going to happen. And VJ Day has been something we've had to answer for a long time. And the question that has to be answered is why? What's up with here? Why are we the only place that celebrates it? In the United States, we don't have the same relationship with World War II that a lot of other places have, especially European countries. World War II is an incredibly important event across the planet, but for some reason the United States doesn't commemorate it the same way that Europeans do, with holidays of remembrance and all that. Except in Rhode Island, we have Victory Over Japan Day, established specifically because Japan surrendered second, but it's a little bit weird that we specify that it's Victory Over Japan Day given what happened. We ended the war, beating them to submission by dropping 2 atomic bombs on a civilian population. So a lot of people look at this and it's like, even if you are pro-atomic bomb, even if you're one of those people who says, oh, it had to be done, if you're treating it with any sort of seriousness that it deserves, it's a somber thing. It's a regrettable action. It was a necessary evil, but an evil nonetheless. So why do we celebrate VJ Day? Sincerely, I don't think it has that much to do with Japan as far as how people view it historically and how people view it today. Rhode Island had a massive part in the war, I guess. We were ready to play a massive part in the war. Naturally, a lot of Rhode Islanders served all across the world and all that. But one of the big things that enveloped Rhode Island is the domestic concerns. The idea that, oh, we're going to have a battle on the mainland. The battle that didn't really come. Like, we had Pearl Harbor, but we never really had the continental United States challenged in that sense. Rhode Island was constantly prepared for that to happen. The weird thing with it being related to Japan is that it's not, and that we were actually always concerned that it would be Germany that would attack us. Geographically, that makes sense. Like, why would Japan go after Rhode Island? It seems like an odd way to come at the United States. There's a reason they went for Pearl Harbor. It just, geographically, it made way more sense. Rhode Island just had this massive naval buildup here. We have all these forts and all this military infrastructure. A lot of it is still in place right now, whether it's abandoned or not. A lot of it has been reduced to like historical locations, like museums and forts that you can visit for historical purposes. They were never challenged. There was a big naval presence here, and as far as like manufacturing goes, Rhode Island really stepped its game up to provide for the war. There was a big push for torpedo manufacturing here, and it massively impacted the Rhode Island economy. It impacted our morale. So it doesn't exactly explain VJ Day, and the only explanation feels like the one that's kind of downplaying the problematic elements of it, and it's that Japan surrendered second, and that's the actual end of the war. It's not exactly a satisfying answer for why that would be. You would actually almost hope that there's something a little bit more scandalous there that would explain this. But now let's just get to it. Why do we still celebrate VJ Day? Okay, it makes sense early on. We established the holiday during a time where it seemed like there were going to be more commemorations of the war established that just didn't happen. But Rhode Island wasn't weird for thinking that there would be different holidays established for celebrating the end of the war. It only made sense. Europe did it all over. It's actually kind of odd that the United States doesn't have more commemorations of World War II from like an international perspective. So that's a thing. Why do we still have it? It's hard to say, really. There's not a lot of World War II veterans left. Some people I've spoken to think we're just kind of waiting that out just to be polite, which honestly I sort of understand. It's not going to be that much longer, just a handful of years left, and there's probably not going to be any left, and then we can probably make this judgment without the baggage of history. I do like the idea of having a holiday that highlights the end of World War II. But the problem is that technically it's called Victory Day, but we still call it VJ Day. So it's not as much the official establishment of the holiday, it's the people who are calling it VJ Day, which makes it even more complicated. So what if we changed the name of the holiday formally and they just kept calling it VJ Day? Nothing will have happened. I don't know what you really do with all that. And then there's kind of an element of it's another holiday. And how many people are going to want to just flat out get rid of a holiday? They're not going to do that. So the only solution is to replace it and rename it. And it seems like Victory Day is not different enough from VJ Day. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is going to be in the long run. I guess it's not a holiday that most Rhode Islanders take with deadly seriousness. So waiting it out for waiting out the World War II veterans is something that I'd imagine even people who are against it wouldn't be too opposed to, because it's really not going to be that long. And for making change on things like this, sometimes it could take years of advocacy. So honestly, if we started now, in a morbid sense, we might be done by the time the time comes. But I don't know. I don't particularly have a strong opinion on it. I just think it's rather interesting. And just somebody pointed out to me the other day, you think people are going to go see Oppenheimer on VJ Day? And my instant reaction was, no, there's something wrong with that. There feels like something is fundamentally wrong with that. But honestly, I don't know, because I watched the movie and I don't even know how the film feels about Oppenheimer after the fact. No review. There's no review on Oppenheimer. I don't know. Jury's out. It was a good film, but still working out some feelings with that one. I think that's all I had to say today. Happy Victory Day. It feels weird. Feels weird to say. I don't know. Have a good one.